Hello everyone. In this module, we are going to learn how to create bar chart in Matplotlib. And the following are the topics which we are going to discuss in this module. Firstly, we will discuss what is bar chart. After that, we discuss its characteristics. Then we will learn where we use bar chart. After that, we will also discuss some types of bar chart. And then we will discuss syntax of all the types of a bar chart in Matplotlib. And in last, we will see example related to vertical and the horizontal bar chart. We have only plotted lines in all the images we have come across so far. There are many more plots format in Matplotlib and we will see a lot of them soon. So let's begin with bar chart. A bar chart is a graphical representation of a numerical data made up of rectangles, or we can say that bars of a constant width and varying heights. Bar graphs are another name for them. And there are few characters that distinguish bar chart from other types of graphs. So let's discuss them. The first character is, in a bar chart, rectangular bars can be drawn horizontal or vertical. The another is that horizontal or vertical rectangular bars in the bar chart should have the same width and the spacing between them. The next character is that the rectangle bars in the bar chart have the same height as the data they show. Moving toward the next is that the x-axis and the y-axis are the two axes in the bar chart. On one axis, it represents the categories, and on the another axis, it represents the discrete values. And the last character of the bar chart is that it has axis label, a bar chart title, a scale, and the name of the axis also. You may be noticed that in statics, a bar chart is frequently used to represent data. So now we discuss some of the following example of bar chart application. The first one is the comparison between different variables are shown using a bar chart, and visualizing the parameter in a pictorial format is very simple and convenient. The next is bar chart are the simplest and the most time saving mean of displaying large amount of data. So because of that, we also use them. The next reason to use bar chart is the most extensively used data representation method. As a result, it is utilized in a wide range of sectors, and it aids in the analysis of a trend over extended period of a time also. So now we discuss the types of a bar chart. So basically bar charts are divided into two types. The first is the vertical bar chart and the next is a horizontal bar charts. I explain both of them one by one. So let's start with the vertical bar chart. Vertical bar chart is created when data is displayed by vertical bars on a graph, and the data is represented by these vertical rectangular bars. On the x-axis and the y-axis, rectangular bars are drawn vertically, and the quantity of the variable indicated on the x-axis is represented by the rectangular bar. So move to the horizontal bar chart. Horizontal bar chart are the graphs in which the given data is represented by the horizontal bars on the graph, and the measure of the given data is represented by these horizontal rectangular bar. The data categories are marked on the x-axis and the y-axis, and the horizontal depiction of the bar chart is represented by the y-axis category. So now we will see the syntax to create these bar chart. And to create the bar chart, we can use the bar function. So let's see the syntax of this function and learn how it works. This bar function is belong to the pyplot module of the Matplotlib. So we write matplotlib pyplot.bar, and then we pass the first parameter, that is x. After that we will pass the height. The next one is the width, and the default value for this is 0.8. The next is bottom, and the default value is none. And the next one is align, and the default value for this is center. And next we have a data, and the default value is none. And after that we have a keyword arguments. So this is the syntax of the bar function. And here x and the height are the compulsory parameters, and the another are the optional one. Now we will discuss the syntax to create a horizontal bar chart. And to create the horizontal bar graph, we use the bar edge function of a Matplotlib. And the syntax of this function is as follow. So this barh function belongs to the pyplot module of the matplotlib. So we write matplotlib pyplot dot barh, and after that we pass some of the parameters to it. And the first parameter is here y, the next is width, after that we pass height, and the default value for the height is 0.8. Next we pass left, and the default value for this is none. After that we pass align, and the default value for it is center, and then we pass keyword arguments by using which we can beautify the bar graph. So there are some commonly used parameter in both the function which I explain you. The first one is x, and the value it takes in float or in array, and it is x coordinate of the bar. The next one is y, and it also take value in float or array like structure, and it is a y coordinate of the bar. The next is height, which also take value in float and array, and it is the height of the bars. The next one is width, and it is the width of the bar. After that we have a bottom parameter. It also take value in float or array like structure, and it is the y coordinate of the bar base. The next is the left, and it is the x coordinate of the left sides of the bar. After that we have align parameter. It takes value as a center or a edge. It is used for the alignment of the bar on the x-axis and the y-axis coordinate both. Then we have a color. It takes value in color or the list of a color, and it sets the color of the bar. Next parameter is the edge color. It also takes value in color or the list of a color, and it is used to set the edge color of the bar. Next one is a line width, which takes value in float or array like structure, and it is used to increase the width of the bar edges. You can also decrease it. The next one is a tick label. It takes value in a string or a list of a string, and it is a tick labels of the bar. The next is the XERR and the YERR. It takes value in float or array like shape of n or shape 2n, and it is a horizontal or a vertical error bar of the bar tips. The next is a E color. It also takes value in color or the list of a color, and the line of the color bar is set by using this. Now we discuss some examples related to vertical bar chart for clearing our concept. So let's begin with simple bar chart example. So I explain the code to you. Firstly, I import the library Matplotlib pyplot as PLT. After that, I define the data coordinates. The first one is a social media name, and the next is the like rating. Then I plot a bar chart by using the bar function and pass two parameter to it as a social media and the like rate. The social media is the x parameter, and the like rate act as a height. After that, I also add label to the plot by calling the x label and the y label function, and I set its size to 16 by passing the parameter size to it. Then I call a title function to add a title on the plot so we can get what the plot is plotting, and I set its color to red by passing the parameter color to it. And then I call the xTix function to rotate the x-axis tick to 45 degree. And in last I call the display function to show the plot. Now I execute this example, and here is the output. By seeing this graph, you can easily see that the most liked social media platform by teen is Facebook, and the least liked one is a Tumblr. Now we will see example in which we use different parameters which we discussed previously. So in this, I use the width parameter in the bar function, and I set its value to 0.5. So now I execute this code, and you can see that it decreased the width of the bar to 0.5, and for every bar it reduced it to the same size. So now let's see example in which we want to set different widths for the bars of the bar chart. So in this case, I create a list which consists of a different widths for each bar of the plot, and then I pass this to width parameter. So here I set the width for the first is 0.2, for Instagram 0.4, for Snapchat 0.6, for WhatsApp 0.5, for Twitter bar 0.7, for Google bar 0.9, and for Tumblr bar I set it to 1. Now I execute this code, and from here you can clearly see that it set different widths for different bars, but in the previous case it set the same width for each bar. Now we will learn what's the bottom parameter and the align parameter means and how it's work. So in this bar function I pass bottom and the align parameter and set its value to 65 and the edge respectively. Now I execute this code and here is the output. By bottom 65 I mean that here the y coordinate starts from the 65, and by using the edge function it's align the bars to the right side of the x-axis tick. You can see that it is right behind the x-axis tick, but in default cases the alignment of the bars are on the center of the text. Now we will learn how we can set different bottoms for different bars of bar chart. For this I create a list that contains a different bottom for different bars. For Facebook it takes 10 value, for Instagram 30, Snapchat 40, WhatsApp 50 and so on, and I pass this value to bottom parameter. And now I execute this example, and from this you can see that each bar have different bottom. Now we will learn to change the color of the bar. So for this I use the parameter edge color and the color and set its value to K, which means black and light coral respectively. Now I execute this code and here is the output. You can see that the colors of the bars are changed and the edge color are set to black. Now we will see the case where we want to use different colors for different bars. So for this I create a list of a color. For Facebook I pass lime as a color, for Instagram yellow, for Snapchat I use the short name for the green as G, for WhatsApp I use lime salmon, and for Twitter I pass RGB color, and for Google I pass silver. And here I pass C to the color parameter, and I also change the line width of the bar and set its value to 4. Now I execute this code and you can see that each bar have different color and the line width of the bar increased to 4. By default its line width looks something like that, but now it's increased to 4. Now we will see examples related to horizontal bar chart. So let's begin with simple horizontal bar chart. I explain it to you. Firstly I import Matplotlib pyplot library as it is a necessary step. After that I create two data coordinates. The first one is a programming languages. The next one is the liking rate for it. After that I plot a horizontal bar chart by calling the bar h function and pass two parameters to it. The first one as a programming language, the next one is a liking rate. The programming language act as a y and like rate act as a width. Then I call the x label and the y label function as I want to set labels at the x-axis and the y-axis. At the x-axis it represents like ratio of the programming language, and at y-axis it represents the programming language, and I also increase its size to 13.5. Then I call the title function to give a title to the plot, from which we get to know it represents the popular programming languages, and I set its color to red. And in last I call the show function to display the graph. Now I execute this code, and from here you can see that now it's represent the graph in horizontal way. In the vertical graph the bars are in vertical position, but in horizontal graph the bars are in horizontal position. So now we will use some parameters of bar h function. So firstly we will learn how we can change the height of the bars. So for this I pass height as a parameter to the bar h function and set its value to 0.6. Now I execute this code and here is the output. It decreases the height of the bars, but it decreases the same height for each bar. But what if we want to set different heights for different bars of the horizontal bar chart? For this I create a list name as h and pass different values to it as a height of the different bars, and then I pass this h to height parameter. Now I execute this code and here is the output. Now you can clearly see that it set different heights for different bars of the horizontal chart. Moving toward the next, now we will learn how we can commonly set left value for each bar of the horizontal bar chart. For this, I pass the left parameter to bar h function and set its value to 30. Now I execute this code and you can see that its x-axis starts from 30, which means the limit of the x-axis start from 30. So in Matplotlib, we can also set different left values for bars of a horizontal bar chart. For this, I create a list with name L and pass different left values to it for each coordinate. And then I pass this L to the left parameter. Now I execute this function and here is the output. You can see that each bar have different left value. Now we will learn how we can set different colors for different bars of a horizontal bar chart and how we can change its line width. It is same as in vertical bar chart. So here I also create a list for a color with name C and pass it to the bar h function to the color parameter, and here I set the line width of the plot to 2. Now I execute this code and with this you can clearly see that the color of each bar set to a different color and the line width increases to 2 and the edge color changes to the red one. With this we have learned how we can plot bar chart in Matplotlib, and in next module we will learn how we can plot stacked bar chart in Matplotlib.